What's up, girlies? So I know you guys have been patiently waiting for this story about what happened with the publisher. So we had to fire the publisher. I finished my book about 6 weeks ago. And so I hired out a publisher to finish up the formatting, the editing, and to actually, go ahead and post it on the platforms like Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and things like that or whatever, because I just did not have the time. So, did a little bit of research. I did get recommended a publisher from someone who had used another publishing company, but two things made me not go with this person. So the first thing is that I had interacted with this person at another event. And what happened but this person didn't know that I was looking at them to possibly bring them on as my publisher. And so what happened is that the person was up in there like bad mouthing her clients. She was bad mouthing her clients. She was talking about, things that she shouldn't have been talking about when it came to her clients. And so the second thing was that I didn't like the way the person was moving. I guess just like personally. But because I feel like when you step out as, your brand, or you're a person who has a brand in a company, like, unfortunately, you're that brand all the time, especially if you're the face of that brand. And you just never know who could be a potential client or a potential collaborator, or what sorts, and that can turn people off. And I'm just one of those type of people. So no shade to that girly in her company, but I didn't like the way she moved personally. So I decided to not go with her. So I started doing my own research and looking for another publishing company. So came across this other company. So I'm not going to name that other company, because one thing I want to do is that I never want to use my platform as a weapon and badmouth people or their businesses or anything like that. And I feel like, and when I say badmouth, I mean like naming them and, going back and forth on social media platforms and stuff like that. I'm just not that type of girly. Now again, and even when I share my experiences, I always try to lead with lead with something positive and end with something positive. That's probably just the corporate baddie in me. But overall, yeah, I went to this other company. So we'll call this other company C. So I went to company C, and so we get started, and everything sounds okay, right? Like, I'm talking to a salesperson via email, and I immediately want to see customer experiences, right? Customer reviews. I want to see what their process looks like. Like, I got so many questions, which is totally normal, right? So I started asking for reviews. I started asking for past clients, because obviously, when you have a company, reviews are everything. So they sent me really great reviews, and they sent me reviews from Trustpilot. Now, Trustpilot is one of those type of platforms where I'm assuming that is a very well vetted platform, and that when people go on there to give their reviews on these companies, these are supposed to be trustworthy companies and trustworthy reviews. Like, these are reviews that a company can pay for. So they sent me those. It was probably like 25 good reviews from Trustpilot and other review platforms. So I was like, okay, I feel a little bit more better about it, and I feel a little bit more better about my decision. And again, the customer service was perfect, right? It was amazing. But there was some red flags. One of the red flags was that all of the reviews were current. I mean, and when I'm not current, they were within like the last 6 months. So I asked about that, right? And I also did my own research about it, because y'all know I'm a researcher. And what I had found out was that this company was in business for 10 years, and then they rebranded to a new company. And so I'm assuming that when they did their reviews, they kind of got reviews and put their reviews under their new company's name. Now, is that really what happened? I don't know, but that's what I found out when I was doing my research. So I went ahead, I signed the contract, and I paid my money. So they immediately had told me that, there's a 100% back money guarantee if you're unhappy with your services. And I'm like, oh, that's even better. I feel even better about that, because one thing I will do is that I will let you know about my experience immediately. Like, if I'm not happy, I'm going to tell you right away. So, met with my project manager, right? First day, everything was okay. I didn't like first that he wanted to do everything through email because the sales rep had told me that we would go through this portal, and I was like, okay. So I'm telling him like, like how come we're not using the portal, because the portal was supposed to be like where I would upload all my stuff at. I will be able to see the progress of what's happening with the whole process, and it just was, it was a great portal. Like, I was able to log in and see what was kind of happening, but he wanted to do everything through email. So I told him like, hey, I really want to prefer to go through the portal, and that's what I want to do. And so he was like, okay, he's like, well, you could upload in the portal and you could send the stuff that I'm asking you for email to me. He was like, but let's go ahead, let's get this manuscript. And so I'm like, okay. So that was another red flag, because I felt like he was a little bit it felt a little like he was moving a little bit fast and he wasn't really listening to me. But again, working with different vendors and companies and things like that, like that's not uncommon. That sometimes they get a little bit excited and they wanna, they really are just they have this charismatic type, salesy type personality, not super uncommon, right? So I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we was gonna do was work on the book cover. So I had already had someone create me a book cover, because the book cover to me was very, very important, and I just didn't want to place that in anybody's hand. So I told him, I said, hey, I already have my book cover. So I sent him my book cover, and he was like, okay, well, we just have to do the back book cover and the spine. I'm like, okay, cool. So that's where we started running into issues at. It was like, no matter what I was saying or what I was telling him, it was almost like he just was not grasping that the back book cover was not aligning with the front book cover. And I mean, we were disagreeing about small stuff, right? Like versus whether it should have been left aligned, opposed to being centered. And I told him, like, I don't really have an issue with you giving me your professional expertise, but this does not look good. It looks terrible. And like, what's happening, right? I even went to ask him like, okay, well, what is common in the industry, right? Like, should it be left aligned? Should it be, centered? Like, what's going on? And then it was like, he wasn't really, so we, obviously I had put like about the book and, about me on the back of the book, because I'm like, this is my first book. And so people don't know who I am. So to look on the back of the book and be able to see who I am, they should have a little blurb about who I am. And it was like he wasn't grasping that either. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, you're like, is that not industry standard? And he was like, well, we'll put it on the last page before the back cover. And as a person who's a researcher, I'm like, no, because he kept telling me that was industry standard. I'm like, I ain't never seen that before. First of all, when I went to the bookstores to go see what the other books look like that were in my genre, right? What those type of books look like what the covers look like. What did they have forewords? Did they have dedication pages? All kinds of different stuff, because this is my first book. And I want my book to look professional. It is a direct reflection of me. And if you know me, I do not play about my brand. I don't play about my aesthetic. I do not play. So I'm like, I don't want to look like someone who just rushed and threw a book out there, because this is not what this is. Like, this is my work. Like, this is my framework. Like, this is Ebb. And if it's gonna be Ebb, it's gonna be held to the highest standard. And so I was just like, when I went to the bookstore, I didn't see, like pages about the author on the last page before whatever he was saying, right? Like, put it on the last page before the back book cover. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, that's not what I see, and that's not what I'm approving. I'm not doing it. So I went back to the person who created the front book cover, and I said, hey, can you create me a matching spine and back book cover? And he was like, okay, cool. No worry about it. He was like, he's like, what you want us to say? And he mocked it up. And he was like, well, I don't have time. Cause he didn't have time to really play around with it, which I totally understand. Like, this is somebody that I know who was just doing me a favor. And I was like, look, You don't even have, it don't even have to be perfect. Like, just send me a mock-up so I can send it to the publishing company, and they can get with their designers and figure out, you know, and bring it all together, because that's their job. I'm not going to be paying you all this money. I'm not going to be paying you all this money, and you are, and I have to do all the work. So he said this to me. It still needed a little bit of fine tuning, but I said, look, I say, this is what I have in mind. And the guy was like, okay, cool. Let me send this to my designers. And my project manager was like, let me send it to my designers, and, you know, we'll come back to you tomorrow. So that was another thing I didn't like. Like, it was like, if in the afternoons he wanted to do all this heavy talking, right? And I used to tell him, like, look, I get it, you know what I'm saying? You know, you're on a different time zone, I'm in a different time zone, but this whole, you know, we talk every day for 15-20 minutes, and when we get on the phone, you're controlling the conversation, you're not even letting me talk. This isn't going to work, because we only got 15-20 minutes because of your schedule. But I can't talk to you at 9 a.m. in the morning, just when you just randomly want to text me and say, hey, Ebony, how you doing? I'm like, it doesn't work like that. Life don't work like that, baby. I got a schedule. And so that was another red flag for me, was like the communication. And so my manager, in the meanwhile, was like, hey, you know what I'm saying, what's going on? You know, like, what's the timeline for the book? And I'm telling her, like, girl, I'm, you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to get you a good timeline for the book, but it's moving slow, and we want to release the book like late June, right? Like, that was kind of like my initial date. And then I had told her, like, you know what, we may not be able to get late June. We might be able to release the book. We might be able to release the book in June, but the party is probably going to be mid-July. And so I'm just trying to really figure out the timeline and plan out the timeline to make sure that everything is perfect, because, again, this is my debut book, and I was not having it. I was not having no rush type of anything. Like, if it wasn't going to look right, then I wasn't going to put it out. And I was going to work until it did look right. So with the cover, so he sent me back the cover and the matching spine. And y'all,
2,000 years later.
Okay, what's up, y'all? So, long time no see. I just got done doing some filming. Y'all, the website is coming along so well, and everything is just, it's just gonna be amazing. I can't wait for y'all to be able to experience everything. But that's not why we're here. We are here to talk about this publisher. Y'all, if I would have known that y'all was gonna be so invested in this story, I would tell y'all stories all the time. All types of crazy stuff be going on. But okay, because I said I was gonna try to get this out in one more video, because y'all know I be having a hard time landing a plane, and I'm trying to talk that loud, because, you know, my neighbors, they be like, girl, you always talking. Who is you talking to? And I be like, girl, the girlies, like, you know. But so let me be quiet, because it's kind of late. So with the publisher, where I left off at is that, and again, I'm gonna piece together parts 1 through 16 in this same video, and it's gonna just be one long video on YouTube. Okay, I'm only gonna post the link. I'm gonna post the link to the video. I'm not going back and posting individual stories. We're not doing that. Okay, so let's get to it. So the publisher, where I left off at is that I sent him a picture of the cover and the spine, and he sent it back to me, and it was the same thing. I'm like, bro, at this point, I'm the graphic designer. Like, what are we doing? So I'm sitting there, and now I'm kind of pissed, right? And so he was like, well, let's look at, you know, the actual formatting of the book, the actual words of the book. And so we looking at them, and now I'm already pissed, because I've already looked at it, right? I've already looked at it, and I don't find like 16 mistakes. Like, how is the book edited and ready to go, like you telling me it is, and it's 16 mistakes in here? And on top of that, I already know that you cannot edit a book in one go. Like, you edit it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Like, right now in real life, I'm on my third, they call it like an author's pre-copy. So you can, you know, go through and edit it and do all this post editing. I'm on my third one, y'all. So I know how the process is supposed to go. So the guy's like, well, so a lot of my issues are with the formatting of it. And I didn't even really get to tell him about the editing, because after I found so many issues in the formatting, I kind of didn't even go and get into the details of it. And so he was like, it's not edited. It's not edited. It's just, no, he's like, it's not formatted. It's just edited. And I'm like, bro, what? Like, that's not what you told me. You told me on the phone that this was ready to go and this was ready to go to print. Like, what are you talking about? So I'm mad, right? I'm mad. He gonna tell me, you know what? Go ahead and send me the issues that you have, and I'm gonna fix them. okay, first I gotta be the graphic designer. Now I'm the editor. Sir, what are my coins paying for? Like at this point, I'm ready to be finished. So I'm sitting there, y'all, and it's, I mean, I'm hot, right? I'm 40 degrees hot. Like I'm okay. So he says, uh okay, so he started getting a little frustrated, right, and telling me like, like, look, listen, I'm trying to tell you, about this other thing that's so exciting. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so I'm like, so he tells me the other thing he's trying to talk about is this marketing plan. So this marketing plan that supposedly came with the package that I created, but it also has these packages that are like 1 and 2 years out that he wants me to pay for. Now, at the same time that I'm talking to this man, right, that I had started talking with this publisher, I started getting these phone calls from this company, and the company was telling me that my business was not listed on Alexa and all that, and Google and all of that. And I'm like, okay, thank you, but I'm not interested, right? And he was like, and the guy was literally was like, well, that's not going to solve the problem that you have, and so you might as well, you should listen to and hear me out because you need this. And I'm like, I don't have a problem, sir. What are you talking about? I didn't call you. You called me. Y'all, they would call all day long, back to back to back to back. I would block them, they call from another number. Block them, call from another number. I'm reporting them as spam, call from another number. I was literally about to have to put that that setting on your phone where it makes people kind of tell you what they want before it'll ring on your side, and you can kind of like pre-screen your calls. But I personally don't like that. And girlies, let me just tell you that, if you are searching for a job and you are actively job searching and applying for jobs, take that off. As a person who is involved in hiring of people, when 9 times out of 10 when I call you, and because it don't beep or nothing like that, it just tell you like, it's stay who you are, da 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 da. I will do it, but for some reason, people don't pick up, and I've learned that, right. At first, I was like confused because I had never heard it before. So a couple of people I kind of hung up on because I didn't understand it. But then when I understood it, I was like, oh, okay. But also too, with the use of AI and things like that, you like it could be an AI calling you to connect you with the recruiter, or vice versa, right? And now you got two AIs trying to talk to each other, and you're not gonna ever get the call, girly, and that's probably a call you waiting on. So quick advice: if you are searching for a job, I would take that setting off. So I didn't want that setting on my phone, but the way they were calling me, it was going to make me have to put it on. So anyway, back to the publisher. So he's telling me about this marketing plan, and this marketing plan is like very, so I had already looked at it because he sent me a copy of it. It's very generic. It is not to my it's nothing personalized to me. It's just a very generic plan, not a good plan. And I was not interested. And I told him that. I say, listen, I understand that this marketing services came with my package, but actually I don't even need those marketing services because I have a team and I'm okay with that. He's telling me like, I'm gonna go on your website and okay, if you got a team, first he said, if I got a team, they don't know how to sell books. You don't know what kind of team I got. Secondly, he was telling me he was going to make me this author page and this page for my book, which is not abnormal for publishing companies to offer you. But again, I already have a team. Shout out to Marie. I already have a team. And I'm very, 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 very picky with my brand. Like, my brand is everything to me. And so I rarely hand over the keys to my brand. Like, rarely. Like, I gotta really trust you to hand over the keys to my brand. And even then, I do make sure that I fully understand what's happening with my brand and that I'm always in the know. Now, I've gotten to the point now where I don't have to sign off on everything, but I still need to know. I need to know what's going on. Even better, send me the information about what was going to go on with me first, and let me kind of work through it, think about it, talk about it, think about it, and then beforehand, and that way we can save a lot of back and forth because I can come to you with my questions, and you can kind of tell me with your answers, and we at that point. But anyway, very rare that I hand over the keys to my brand, and I'm telling him like, no. Not interested in that, right? Like, not doing it. And so he's like, well, what do you mean? And so he starts to get upset because I don't want his marketing plan. And y'all, this man hung up on me. I was flabbergasted. Literally. I'm looking at the phone like, I know dang on well this man ain't ended this call. So I'm really hot, right? I'm hot. But let me say this. I had already prayed to God that if this publisher was not for me, and that if this wasn't going to work out with him, that I was going to be calm, I was going to have peace about it, and I was going to be able to walk away, right? It was going to be so blatant in my face that it was not going to work, that I was going to be able to walk away and I was going to be at peace with it, because I'm a Capricorn, so I already had a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, a plan E. I had plans on top of plans, baby. So he was not my only option, but I wanted my money. So so when he hung up on me, I called him back, right? I waited to see if he was gonna call me back. He did not call me back, y'all. I called him back and I'm like, did you just hang up on me? He like, no, I think we lost signal. Sir, we've been talking for the last week and a half and we ain't never lost signal and the phone don't hung up. Now, who you think you're talking to? So at this point, I'm over it, right? I let him keep on talking. He telling me about this marketing plan and how I'm going to take this marketing plan, and that it's an additional charge, and that's what I'm mad about, because he didn't tell me it was additional charge, and he just meanwhile, I'm sending an email to the lady that I was at first dealing with, and I started telling her like, hey, I need to get in contact with you. I am not happy, and I'm ready to, end this relationship. And I was very clear that no, I do not want a new team, because what they'll do is they'll put you with a new team. So you'll get a new project manager, and the project manager will come with the people on his team. So it'll be like his editor, his all his people, right? But I was clear in the email, like, I don't want that. I just want my money back. Now, the reason that I was comfortable signing with this publishing house is because they offered a 100% money back guarantee. Like, I made sure of that, right? And so I was okay. I was like, you know what? Hey, don't work out, I'm gonna get my money back. So I'm telling the people, like, come on, pay up. I'm ready. Where's my coin? So the lady not answering. So I call her and I get her assistant, and her assistant is like, oh, she's in a meeting. What can I help you with? I was like, well, I would rather talk to her, because I only want to tell the story one time. At this point, y'all, I'm not finna keep going back and forth with these people. And so, meanwhile, the publisher is texting me. He blowing my phone up like, I don't know what's wrong with you. Tell him, yeah, he don't know what's wrong with me, and he's not understanding what's happening, and that I need to kind of just take a breather and reassess. And I'm just like, this man is crazy. So the woman's assistant was like, look, tell me the story, and I'm gonna get it together. I'm like, okay, cool. So I tell him everything that happened. Very, very clear that I do not want a new team. I don't want to talk to the woman no more. I don't want to talk to him no more. He starts to tell me that I have to talk to the QA department and tell them this exact story what happened again, and then after that we can decide on the next steps. I say, there are no more steps. Like, I'm terminating this relationship, and I'm terminating this. Like, this is done. Like, I'm finished. He starts to tell me, well, you know what? I know what'll make you feel better, Ebony, if I gave you an all-woman team. I ain't saying none about the gender of the team that I need. What is wrong with these people? So at this point, y'all, I'm just like, you know what? Sir, I said, sir, I'm not talking to nobody QA team. I'm not talking to the lady no more. I'm not talking to you no more. And that's that. I said, so don't have nobody call me. So in that moment in my mind, right, I'm mad, but I'm not like panicking, right? I'm not in panic mode. And something hit me like, girl, you pay with a credit card. Now, y'all, I've never disputed a charge, right? So I know that, people, I guess that would have been people's first initial reaction, but I've never disputed a charge before, like on my, with my credit card. Now, my bank card, yeah, but I guess I just didn't put two and two together. But in that moment, I was like, I paid with a credit card. I could really call and dispute this. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna just call and dispute it, because I have all the paperwork that I need, right? I have the email that I sent that asked them to terminate the relationship. I have a copy of the contract with the money back guarantee, and I have an actual claim. You are not providing the services you told me you was gonna provide, and I don't like it, right? Not at the quality that I like. So at this point now, it don't even matter what this man's saying on the phone because I'm finna green call the credit card company. So get off the phone with him, right? Call the credit card company, tell the credit card company what's going on. Credit card company was like, all right, cool. Upload all your documents. This could take 90 days. I'm like, you know what? I ain't even mad at that. I'm like, because at this point, I'm already thinking about plan B, plan C, plan D, right? And I'm like, it's cool. 90 days, at least I have my money back, and at least I know that I didn't pay for something that I wasn't happy about, right? So, moving on, about maybe like an hour later, I get an email, and the email, never heard from the lady, right? I'm only hearing from her assistant now. The man says, hey, Ebony, sorry, we did try to reach out to you. We couldn't get a hold of you. I couldn't get a hold of you. And what else did he tell me? Our QA department also wants to speak with you about the incident that happened. And, you do not have to talk to the publisher anymore. Because I kept telling them to tell him to stop contacting me because he kept calling me and texting me and then I blocked them. And he was like, you don't have to work with that publisher anymore. We'll get you a whole new team. And, we really want to try to salvage this relationship. So I'm like, I'm not even going to respond to them again because I don't want it. But the credit card company was like, no, respond again and just say, that you want your money back. So I responded again, told them I'm not interested in salvaging a relationship. It is what it is. I will talk to them, this is it. We won't talk anymore, but I would like my refund. Like, what are the steps that I need to get my refund? Right. So never heard back from him. So maybe like 2 hours later, he sends me an email. No, I get a receipt saying they sent my money back to my credit card. And I'm all like, period, because I was not playing with y'all. And so, yeah, that's the story of how I fired my publisher, or why I fired my publisher. And I hope y'all like my story time. As you probably have seen now, because this story is like 2 months late, I ended up editing my own book, and I'm going to self-publish, which was a process in itself. But remember, I kept telling you guys that I already took a class on this in 2020. So I knew what I was doing. I just really had to dig into my skills, y'all. Like, I had to really dig. Okay, we was all up in the details. So I did my own book cover. I did my own editing. And I am on round 3, which I think will probably, no, I'm not gonna say that. I think it's gonna be one more round, but the book is coming out June 26th. It is going to be on Amazon. It is going to be, you can get it as on your Kindle or a paperback copy. I don't have a copy of it around me right now, but you guys will see it. I showed it already on IG. So if you missed that, just go back to IG, check it out. And yeah, I'm excited. We are having a book release party. So if you're in Chicago, be on the lookout for that link, because, you can, sign up, get a ticket, and come hang out with me in real life. And then what else I was gonna tell you guys? Oh, the workshop, right? The Write the Book Girly. That's the name of the workshop. I had so many people in my inbox asking me, how did I write this book? How did I edit this book? Should they, self-publish or go with a publisher? So many questions. And I was like, I got to teach the girlies. I got to teach them. And I'm going to deliver. So be on the lookout for that class. I've already wrote the content for it. And y'all, it is so good. Like, if I would have had this, I would have been great. Like, and I teach you girlies not only how to, what happens when it's time for you to edit and publish your book, but also how to write a book, right? Because a lot of people ask me that too. Like, girl, first of all, how did you write a book and when did you write a book, right? Because y'all know I'm a workaholic, but let me go ahead and land this plane. Write the Book Girly. That's the name of the workshop. That's coming out. You'll probably start seeing links about it maybe middle of May. And we're going to have the workshop. You're going to have a worksheet, which is really a workbook, but it is such a good class and it's going to be so worth it. And I'm so excited for the girlies to be able to have the ability to have a blueprint to write their book. Book party, July 18th. And the book is coming out. The Cost of Elevation will be out June 26, 2026. It will be available on Amazon and hopefully at your local bookstores, but you'll be able to get it immediately on July 26th on Amazon, either on your Kindle or order a paperback book. And yeah, come support your girl. All right. I'll see you guys later. We will do more story times, I promise. And girlies, remember, you do not have to play the hand you were dealt, right? That guy thought he was gonna just deal me some cards and say, girl, this is it. This is what we doing. And you gotta let him know, no, uno, flip it and reverse it, honey. Right? No, not doing that. So remember, you do not have to play the hand that you were dealt. Girl, you ain't even gotta play cards if you don't want to, okay? Don't you be afraid to pivot. Bye.